Welcome to Vintage Radio Cafe, your #1 channel for relaxing vintage audio restoration. If you like watching an idiot wielding a soldering iron, you've come to the right place. Watch Ray's attempts to fix wonderful forgotten radios from another era, way before transistors. Sometimes he even gets them working again. What could go wrong, right?
Okay, so I'm back quickly just to give you an update. Radio is separated from the cabinet, and before I started to paint the inside and to clean it, I really had to address the question of the plastic panel here. It goes in front. So I thought only one was damaged, but it turns out those little pegs here, let me zoom in, those little plastic pegs that go here, well, on each one of them, this one is actually here. On each one of them, one broke off. And this one, not only did it break, but it broke on this little part. So I have to glue a bigger part. Just come back to normal. I have to glue this bigger part here. And then try to glue the smaller part once the first one is glued in, and then put back this little peg if I can. Wasn't easy to get out of the wood, but with a little bit of WD-40 and a little bit of heat with the heat gun at maybe 120 Fahrenheit, so I didn't melt the plastic, I could get the pegs out, but I'm really not sure it's going to work. So I'll let you know. So I just finished cleaning all the glue from where the little plastic frame is gonna sit in order to reglue it. And the parts I was telling you about that were breaking off, all those pegs has to go in those holes. Some are already a bit keyholed, indicating there was some movement, although the pieces of wood have been rightfully so separated, so it would allow for the wood to move. Here it's not one solid piece, but still, for some reason, the glue, dried up, that's for sure. And once some of the parts of the plastic frame weren't glued, when you press the button, it flexed. So that's probably what caused the plastic part to break. So still working on the cabinet. Tedious work. Look at all the glue that I took off. Moving along here, I'm done with removing the glue. Now I'm just about to start repainting the interior, and I had two sorts of paint actually. I had glossy white, which I use for my doors and trims, and I have very light gray, which I'm going to use. It's still washable, not as much as the glossy. This is pearl. I think it's a pearl finish, but I've got some left over, so I'll mix them up real good. And this is how the interior looks. This is the top side. The bottom side is a little bit better. Don't know if I can show it. Yeah, bottom's a bit better, but it's still a dust magnet, and hopefully not only will it look cleaner, but it will smell better. Okay, so there she is. Yeah, I was really hoping I wouldn't have to use any clamps for this re-glue, but no, it's the wood has a mind of its own, and as soon as I put the plastic in, the plastic part, and I aligned all the pegs in the holes, it just split open again. It seems to be just in the middle part here, so I'll have to live with a gap, about a millimeter gap. But we'll see when I declamp everything if it glued well enough. And oh yeah, I just want to show you this. This is a gift from my kids I got yesterday. It's a heating mug. You actually, there's a base that comes with it, so you charge it and it heats up on itself after. For 2 to 4 hours it keeps your coffee warm. There's one button at the bottom, which you just, you don't have to turn the cup around. You just reach it with your finger and you turn it on or off, and you set the temperature. This is great. Can't believe how far we've come. It's the perfect mug. I don't want to do any publicity here, but it's the perfect mug for guys like me, working, getting interrupted all the time. You start something, you heat up your coffee in the morning, and yeah, you start doing something, then you're an hour or so not drinking, and your coffee gets cold. So I thought it was just brilliant. I love it. Let me get a sip. I don't like my coffee too warm, but you can go way higher than that. I think you can go over 149 degrees, I think, Celsius. Not sure. So, although it doesn't make sense, that's too high. 149 probably Fahrenheit, because 100 Celsius is boiling. It's 212 Fahrenheit. Anyways, you get the idea. So we'll come back in a few hours, see how this contraption is going to fare. Okay, so I have untaped and unclamped this part, and I'm not very happy with it, to be honest. This part is okay, it's glued on pretty tight, but yeah, here in the middle the split reappeared, which I pretty much knew it would. This one I had better hope, but it's still holding. another stress mark appeared here. So what can I say? With after 65, 66 years, the wood has moved. It is what it is. I'll have to live with that. At least I have a complete part, and it's cleaner than it was. But I've seen many of those exact model where pieces are missing completely, or one of the treble or bass wheel is missing, just broke off in pieces. It is what it is. Some models, they made this piece out of metal, or they stopped it here and made a little separate part for the tuning knobs. Not the tuning knobs, but the adjustment knobs. So I guess at one point they figured it wasn't a good system, but it is what it is. I'm going to live with it, and I'm going to tackle the foam gasket. Yeah, get my mind off it. Okay, new gasket in place, all over, all the way here and down. So it's not super sticky, especially on the bottom part, which is raw wood. Here it was a little bit better on the brass trim, but the idea is to have the dial plate, the glass of the radio, push against it, because it's at an angle, just like the dial. So it should fit perfectly with a little bit of pressure, hopefully, and pushing the radio in a little bit more than it was, probably moved from the anchors here of the chassis. So probably that's why those guys are rubbing. Yeah, no, really has to be pushed in a little bit, or the button maybe can be moved back, which I don't know, because this one seems to be pretty flush. This one's moving that way. I don't know. I'll have to look at that. So we're going to trade places. I'm going to remove the cabinet and start working on the chassis. Be right back. Okay, day 5 working on the radio. Yesterday I built this frame after I finished cleaning the chassis, well, the top side at least. So the idea is to make a frame to be able to turn the radio completely upside down and have access to the components, namely the rectifier is okay, it's not too bad, you can go from the back, but the can here really goes inside the chassis, as you can see, and there's a board in the back, which I'll show you I can't access even with this contraption. So let me turn it around and I'll show you what I mean and what I have to do. Okay, so I turned the chassis and the whole radio upside down, and as you can see, that's why we do it, so we have access to the underside, to the bottom. As you can see, the switches are, well, the button, the piano keys are really, really dirty at the bottom. So is the rest of the board, but it's not that bad. It's never as bad as the top side. But the actual way of building one of those radio holders is to use metal strapping, okay, steel, and then you just bend it. But I don't have access to the proper tool to be able to heat it up, and I don't even have a vise here on my bench. I have nothing solid enough to hold a vise, but with a vise and a 2-pound hammer, You just hammer it down, you make corners, and you make it out of metal. You drill the holes, and you have a much better access than what I got here with 3.5 inches wide of wood. My problem is it's not too bad on this side, but on this side, most of the critical parts I'll have to change are here, and I can't have access to it. I need to remove at least this much wood, 1.5 inches of wood. And this being MDF, there's no way I'm going to cut this and just, leave it a little bit of wood. It's going to break. It's never going to be sturdy enough. As it stands now, it is. But, so I had to find a solution. So what I ended up doing is going at the hardware store and buying aluminum strips. So the idea, hope this is going to work, is to remove the radio, and this will go actually on the top side. Now you see the bottom, it's going to go there, and I'll remove the radio, cut as much of the wood as I can, like that on each side, and then fix this. It'll actually fit like that, yeah. To fix it, and then to drill holes, put it there securely, and then drill the same holes at the same place in the metal strip, in the aluminum strip, and put the radio back in place. So that's the plan for today. I don't know how long it's going to take me. It already took me a long time just to cut the aluminum with a, I don't know what you call that. In French we say it's a metal saw. So yeah, that's the plan. Can't wait to actually start doing the electronics, but for doing such a project, it takes what it takes, and the end justify the means. Okay, a few hours later, as they say, this is what I got. So I have to go here. What you see is one side done with the metal strip. It's going to be held here in place with one screw on each side, each extremities. And those are the 2 screws for the radio per se. So the idea is to drill the hole like that with the with this in place, with the strip in place, and then go underneath with the holes already drilled, then go through the metal. As you can see, there's not much wood left when trusted for the weight of a radio, especially not this one. It must weigh at least 25 pounds. It's 2 feet long, so it's very big, very heavy. So I think I'll be okay with that. Once the screws come out, then I'll put the radio in and try to align everything, if I can do it. What could go wrong, right? So I'll be right back after trying to fit it back in. Okay, so I'm done. Did everything I wanted to do on the frame holder, on the radio holder. Now you see it right side up. Well, let me flip it. And this is how I'll be working on the underside of the chassis. So now I removed all this wood here, all this. So there's 2¼ inches right there. Same here. Now I have access to the entirety of the under chassis. All those, which I know I'll have to replace, and the electrolytic can. And this board actually It's just held by a few tabs, which I have to bend, and I'll probably be able to remove it and have a clear access to the electrolytic cans. I think I'm going to try to restuff this one, because I don't see where I would put a new contact strip and the electrolytics, although I could do it on the other side, but you know, that's the plan. So for this, like I said, I put some aluminum strapping. I used the same holes I had in the wood. I had though to countersink them, the screws, so I would have more threads going in the retainer tab, and it does. I can see at least an eighth of an inch, so 5-6 threads going in. So now I'm comfortable. It's not going to fall down. Plus, there's always holes in the side of the wall of the chassis, well, most times, and I use them to put some tie wraps just to secure them. So if anything happens, if the wood would break, the radio would not go any lower than the flex of the aluminum, but it's pretty solid now. It doesn't flex at all. It's supporting maybe 20-25 pounds on two strappings, so there's about 10-15 pounds on each. It's pretty balanced. So yeah, and let me show you some of the finds that I did. Man, when I was taking out the EM84, the Magic Eye, it's encased in a shroud, plastic shroud, or something between rubber and plastic, and it was very, very brittle. So when I took it out, and the tube remains inside, when I tried to remove the tube, well, it broke off in a zillion pieces, and some pieces I didn't even find. So I've put some Gorilla Tape for the time being. When I'm ready, I'll finish the part that's still missing tape. And there's a tab on the side of the chassis where it goes here, so it prevents it from going any lower. So I don't like using tape, but you know, sometimes you don't have a choice. Other interesting thing, it's the first time I see those. The pilot lamps, the bulbs are painted white. They're obviously black inside. They're not working. So if I can't find any of those, I'll use paint. I'll paint them myself, probably diluted paint. It must be blocking light, something terrible. I can't see when I put it through the light. I can't see anything coming out of it. So it's a 7 watts, I believe. That's about it. I'll show you the rest when I start working on the cleaning of the underside again. And there's a few other things. One thing I've identified, I told you there was this guy was moving, or was it this one? The control for the the control for the treble, and actually it's in a casing here, and there's one screw on the side, so it's loose, so that's why it goes down more than it should. It should be stable. This one's pretty stable. This one's moving like an eighth of an inch, so it has to go all the way up like that. And yeah, flathead screw. We'll address that when I get to that. So that's it for today. Day 5. Still working on cleaning, but hey, like I said, I'm waiting for components. I'm waiting for the vacuum tubes, namely. And once I start, I'll order all the electrolytics and caps I don't have. I have a bunch, but it's always the same thing. There's always a value you don't have. So no biggie. As long as it's clearly marked on the components and on the diagram, on the schematics, I should be able to fix everything. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Hello everybody and welcome back. So today is the sixth day, day 6 working on the radio. Yesterday after finishing the frame, the radio holder, I finished cleaning all the underside and I lubricated everything I could. I did the backside, the underside of the switches also. They were really dirty. And I just finished today. This is the result. Cleaning all the valve, the sockets, all those tube sockets there with those little brushes, which I couldn't find last time I tried to find some. And basically you just go into each holes of each socket where the pin fits, and I had no idea they would come out this way. I mean, that's really, really dirty. So I'm happy I did it. They're all done now. And what I want to do today, because I'd like to go outside, it's really nice. We've been having a terrible heat wave for the last, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 days with high humidity. But since yesterday, it's like 24, 25 degrees outside and no humidity. It's really nice, sunny, so I should go out. But before, I want to repaint this back plate. As you can see, it's very clean now, but it's terribly yellowed. It's really, it's actually going a bit on green. And although you don't see this, because the dial plate is in front, and in this case it's really dark, it's brown. All you see is the slit of light where the actual numbers are. That's just about where you see through the radio. But you want this to be as white as possible, although it was probably off-white or a bit cream originally, probably. But you want it white to still have good illumination from your dial, right? So I didn't buy any special paint for that. And I cannot remove this panel because it's actually the structure of the whole radio. You cannot remove it unless you take the whole radio apart, which I don't want to. The dial strings are perfect. Everything's working, so I want to keep all that in place and do it in situ. Do it in place. So I have small brushes, and the paint I'm going to use is just water-based latex that I use for interior. I'm going to use white ceiling paint. Why ceiling paint instead of the molding paint? Well, because it's really, really matte. When you look at your ceiling, that's what you're supposed to use, so you don't see the brush marks. But even if I did, even if I don't do a perfect job and I do see some brush marks, so what? We'll never be able to see that. But that's the plan for today. So I taped everything I thought I might strike with my paintbrush, and I've isolated all the strings with just some straws, some cardboard straws, which I split open, and I put them on each one of the strings. So hopefully I won't get paint all over. And it doesn't have to go like super all the way back here. As long as, you know, about to here it's covered, and about to here, you'll never see it. Nobody will be the wiser. But I still want to get it cleaner than what it is right now, and get as much light inside so it looks better from the outside. Get it nice and bright and luminous and all that jazz. So I'll show you the result when I'm done. I'm guessing it's going to take me a few hours, because I have to be really, really careful and try not to get paint on the wheels and on the strings. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. So day 7 working on the radio. I finished the painting of the back plate yesterday. Just going to show you what it looks like. So there you have it. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good, I think. There's some shadows you can see, but I'm telling you, it's really white now. Compared to what it was before. And I also finished cleaning the all the piano keys, which were super dirty at the bottom. What's left to do, and I'm waiting for some rubber today, is to change those little rubber covering the metal tabs, which this one is actually split and chipped a bit of the yeah, this one's still good, but it's really hard aside from the very tip. It's a bit soft again still, but it's too hard, has to go. And also what I'll be doing is usually they put some rubber here on each side, okay, but there wasn't any, so I'm using some heat shrink. I'm just going to put a dab of glue here, not touching the back, which is silkscreen paint, I think, for all the lettering. So I don't want to put some glue on there, but just on the very edge, put a dab of glue to hold a piece of heat shrink there, so it never touches directly to metal again, even if the new rubber I'm going to put in ever slices. And what it did, I already showed you, is made a chip. It's not on the top, it's on the bottom, but it's, in my opinion, very fragile. It could break. So I'm going to put a bit of heat shrink on this side as well, with new rubber on the part here. I should be okay. So once this is done, I'll finally be ready to start working on the electronics. First part will be the power supply, check the continuity, resistance, and try to see what's going on with that. If I can determine in any way that the B plus will go the whole way through, and the voltage for the filaments, if I can at least determine that, I'll be ready to move along with the other sections of the radio. So I'll be back as soon as possible.